minutes. In both 2012 and 2016, Congress directed the FAA to address 3 safety gaps between domestic and foreign repair facilities. One was security screening for safety-sensitive personnel, another, risk-based oversight of facilities, and the third, drug and alcohol testing. To date, the FAA has taken no actions on any of these, to my knowledge. Since 2016, the FAA has approved a net of 200 more overseas facilities. As I understand from the testimony today, more than 8,200 maintenance jobs have been offshored. This outsourcing further enables airlines to evade critical safety and maintenance rules that apply at American facilities. It also appears to me also an effort to avoid organized labor. To Mr. Perrone and Mr. Samuelson, how many new foreign repair stations have opened since these directives beginning in 2012 were first passed into law, and what safety gaps exist?
So the answer to the question is it's 200 in the last 2 years and 300 since 2016. There's 900 in total. I'm not sure how many since 2012, but certainly the FAA has created an atmosphere where American passenger air carriers, U.S. flag carriers, are exporting more and more work overseas. And there's only one reason to do that, and that reason is for profit. It's certainly not because the work is being done safer. And I would further say that the US-based mechanics are an effective stopgap. They're a stopgap for work coming back from overseas facilities, China and South America, where the work is done in an inappropriate way, and we've given some examples of that. But they're a stopgap, and eventually work being done overseas is going to lead to the potential of a disaster happening to American citizens on a US flag carrier. And the issue of avoiding organized labor, I think it's maximizing profit at the risk of exposing crew members and travelers to flawed safety planes. I think that's really the goal. We have non-union carriers that are doing it as well. So it's a bad situation.
Mr. Perrone?
So I got to put my glasses on because it's getting to that point. We had domestically about 3,000 repair stations, foreign about 915, but that's growing rapidly. And the problem that we have, the concern is that the FAA has to have inspectors now travel overseas, and again, with staffing issues, with money, government shutdowns, that gets delayed or backlogged. Also, the oversight with, as we've said, they don't have the same standards as we do for domestic. So the folks that are working there are not at the same high level that we have in the United States.
So how much maintenance work is performed outside the U.S. now, if you know, and how much of that work would return to the U.S. if these safety gaps were closed, to either one of you?
So one of the issues that's going on is that the FAA doesn't have a system for collecting data for problematic work that comes back from overseas. They simply don't collect the data. So the only time the FAA receives data on it is if there's a problem that leads them to make specific inquiries of passenger air carriers, U.S. flag carriers. And it's about 30% of the work is done overseas now, and that's up from 7% in 2003. So it's growing tremendously. And the idea that this is somehow beneficial to American air travelers or to the safety of American air travelers is ludicrous. It's not beneficial at all. It's objectively less safe, yet the airlines keep increasing the amount of work they're doing overseas. And there's only one answer for that, and I said it before, it's profit.
As you know, Congress has already directed the FAA to close these gaps. What next steps would you recommend we take to bring the administration into compliance in 30 seconds?
Because the FAA has ignored Congress, they've just ignored Congress. There needs to be a moratorium on any more certification of foreign stations until the situation is under control.
Mr. Perrone, anything else?
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think touching on having an FAA administrator would be beneficial. As we know, we've had an actor for a while, so that there should be somebody that's going to be in place that can hold the agency accountable to Congress's wishes.
Thank you. We're now going into a second round of questions, so I'd like to recognize